We are going to look at mortality in this video. We are going to look at 7 major causes of fish mortality. 7 major causes of fish mortality. When we talk about mortality, it is the alarming rate of death in your pond. When you have more than 10, 20 deaths you are picking up every day in your pond, it shows that that very pond has an issue. It has an issue. So the first we are going to consider on this list of 7 major causes of fish mortality is biosecurity. Biosecurity is way far more than you just washing your hand, dip your leg, etc. But the environment you set up your pond really matters so much. If the environment is of an industrial environment, it shows that though most of those industry will release their waste into the water bodies, and by so doing the water body is contaminated. And once the water body is contaminated and your source of water is from those water body, so your pond will be affected. So you must put that into serious consideration when setting up your farm. Number two, look at poor management level. What is your basic understanding in managing a catfish farm? Fish farming is more than you just setting up the pond and you just put fish inside the water and you expect them to grow. No. What is your management level? How much do you know about taking care of those fishes? What training did you go? So you must have an adequate training. You can have most of this training by viewing videos on YouTube, going for classes, paying for training, so that you'll be able to know how to manage your farm effectively. Because when diseases breaks out in the farm, if you don't really have a basic understanding, you will not know. All you will just see is that the fish are dying. So you must understand when there is a problem in the farm. Once you notice that, you can quickly begin treatment or providing prophylactic medication in the pond. That will automatically reduce or avert the effect of that disease. Number three, poor feed quality. Why do you compromise your feed quality? Why? When you use a substandard feed for your fish, they will not do very well. It will also lead to death, because feed will determine the output of your weight of fish at the end of the cycle you intend going through. So you must not compromise fish quality. Go for a very good feed. Go for a very good feed, so that the outputs at the end of the day will also come out very well. If somebody that is feeding his or her fish with 45 or 55 or 35 crude protein with a very good fiber, now you are now feeding your own fish with 15 or 20 crude protein, the output will be different, because that very weight gain by the person using a very high quality feed will be different from your own. So don't compromise feeding. Poor feeding will lead to mortality, because the immune system will not be strong. And once the immune system is not strong, what will happen? The fish will die. They will die. Number four we are looking at is poor feed seed. Poor feed seed. How do you get your seed? Where did you get your seed from? Where did you get your seed from? You don't just get your seed from anywhere. Ensure that you get your seed from a very good breeder. A very good breeder. A breeder that has been tested and trusted. Don't just go and just collect any seed and you use it to stock. If what you are buying is not shooters and they are rot, they will not grow. And many of them can also, on the process, make you lose money. If the fish you are getting, they are sick from the breeder and you don't know, once they get to your farm, what happens? They will die. That will result to what? Mortality. Poor seed will lead to what? Mortality in your farm. Number 5 we are looking at is poor stocking density. Poor stocking density. If you stock in a pond that contains 1,000 at the end of the growing season and you now went and stock 2,000, it will lead to overcrowding. And once the fish are overcrowded, they will be fighting for space. By the time they are fighting for space, it will also lead to what? A high rate of mortality and cannibalism. And once they begin to eat themselves, they will die. So you must also take that into a very good consideration. Poor stocking density will lead to mortality. Number 6 is poor water quality. Poor water quality. The environment of the fish is the water. If you allow the water to be dirty without changing it, most especially those using concrete pot, tapole pond, twice every week or thrice every week, then it will also lead to mortality, because once the environment is not conducive enough, it will lead to death. It will lead to death. And those that are also into upstream, you must also consider your water quality seriously, because when your water is not in a good shape, it will affect the fryers. It will affect the fryers. And lastly, we are going to discuss about in this is poor poor planning budget. Poor planning budget. Before you go into catfish stocking, you should carry out a proper budgeting. Know the amount of feed they are going to take. If you are going for 500 and your money can only take 200, go for 200, because you must consider quality than quantity. But if you consider quantity and at the end of the day you are unable to feed them, you will not have a very good output. And by so doing, you are losing money. You are losing money. So you must carry out your budget properly. Know what will cause you to feed your fish, because one of the most important aspects of catfish farming is the feeding. So you should be able to carry out a proper budgeting before you stock, because if you don't do that, it will result to what? Mortality. Once you cannot feed them, they will feed on the weaker ones, and that will lead to a very high rate of mortality in your farm. If this is your first time of coming across our channel, please subscribe and also share. Also join us in our Facebook